Hello, I'm Tyler Edlin with 3dbuzz.com, and in the third video of this series, I'll be talking about the essence of a character and how to find it. But basically, I'll be showing you, a free sketch of a character, a preliminary drawing. So usually at the beginning of every project, no matter the size, there's a blue sky phase where artists and producers, directors, whoever just get together and they lay out, a bunch of ideas. And it's usually the artist, and they just come up with ideas, and they can just be there's usually like free reign. There's not as many restrictions at this point in the project. So I'm basically just doing that within this character idea. I'm coming up with a quick sketch that generally encompasses what I envision the character is about. And I arrived, at that stage even by, going through the four questions I did in the last video to find just a little bit about the character. And once you know a little bit about the character, you can usually, gauge what type of archetype the character would fall into, and then, moving on to finding the essence of the character. And I did a little research, and there's basically 7 soul types. And I'll talk about those now. The first one's a server, and that's an accommodating, caring, nurturing, or hospitable or altruistic character. The second one is an artisan, a creative, inventive, imaginative, sensitive, and dexterous character. The third type is a warrior, forceful, loyal, protective, determined, and steadfast. And the sages, number 4, naturally engaging, articulate, charming, entertaining, and expressive. 5, would be the scholar, curious, studious, academic, analytical, and neutral. 6 is priests, are naturally inspirational, uplifting, motivation, and energizing, for the people around them. And the last one would be number 7, kings. And these types of characters are commanding, assured, powerful, authoritative, and decisive. So based on what I came up with the character in the last video, I would say she's going to be more or less a server, someone that's accommodating and caring and nurturing and stuff like that. So I'm more or less trying to capture the essence of that in this initial drawing through her expression. I'm not really focusing as much on the design of the character itself, but more, this is, trying to put it in as few words as I can, just one encompassing image that would, capture what that character is. You can tell what she's about by looking at it. And then after here, from what I do is generally go on to design, lots of drawings to figure out how she would actually look. But I'm basically just trying to nail down a general expression of how she would generally look caught in a moment. And all I did up to this point is I filled in the background with a neutral color, which I recommend doing because it kills the white of the paper, and it's easier to work off of, and certainly easier on the eyes after looking at it for a while. So, I spent, what is it? I ended up, this is sped up a little bit, but I spent 15 or 20 minutes on this. I went online and I found some expressions that I was, trying to capture the description of the character type here. And I'm just using that as a reference. A couple of them, I think I show them in this video or the next video, they'll pop up, but I'm kind of just, I have them all out in a reference sheet, and I will generally just build a character, gathering information from all of them. I'm not really trying to think about style or, a lot of the design aesthetics. I'm just, doing some raw drawing in almost its most simple and rudimentary form. Basically, a portrait painting. So it really helps to get the anatomy correct on this. I don't get it right the first time, most of the time, so I have to go back and I will lower the opacity and then, you know, like you would do traditionally, I draw over it on a new layer in a more opaque way. And eventually, you know, every time I do that, it just gets a little bit more correct every time I do it. And sometimes I use a smudge tool, kind of like you would if you're using a pencil. You use the corner of your finger, and I just soften things. You know, so I'm thinking, you know, this character is going to be on a long journey, has been on a long journey, um, scared in a lot of instances, afraid even, but, you know, still an immensely powerful character, but, you know, unsure of her own abilities. You know, that can be very frightening for a person, not knowing what you're truly capable of. So I'm kind of trying to show how she's kind of tired, but genuine and ultimately pure of heart. You know, at the end of the day, I want to think of this character as someone that's more or less extremely focused and has a real concern for how others think and feel, but ultimately that, you know, conflicts with, you know, is it be an inner conflict for her because she's not sure who to trust in this strange land that she's visiting, you know, one that I'm developing. So I don't know, I just try to think of every little facet of a character I can when I'm designing them. And it all starts off with this initial pass I want to find the essence of the character. And then the following videos, you'll see how I can take this further and then flush out the rest of the design. So thank you for watching, and I hope I gave you some ideas in this video to flesh out your character designs, you know, kind of more or less on paper before you begin the drawings.